大家好，我是刘龙珠律师。今天呢，我们讲的还是川普，讲的还是2024总统大选。今天呢，我特别有荣幸请到了美国最知名的律师之一，国际关系专家 ，one of the most famous attorneys in America, international relations expert, Attorney Abraham Odebachi, to discuss the upcoming presidential election, to talk about all those issues concerning not just the presidential election, but what happened to former President Donald Trump, to the sitting president Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden. Mr. Odebachi, please say hi to the audience.
Hello, everybody. Hope all is well.
Yeah, Abe has been practicing for many years, and he has also been involved in some of the very big legal and political events in this country. So today it will be truly an honor to have Abe to talk to you guys, to discuss those issues. You know why? Because you have been watching me. You have been watching my shows. You have been following me for all those years. I want to do my best to give you the best show ever. That's why I invited Mr. Abraham Odebachi. So, Abe, what do you think? There's a news saying that, Trump's number one competitor, the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, saying that he has dropped out of the presidential race.
Well, it doesn't look like that's accurate. In fact, recent articles we've been looking at on the news, it looks like President Trump has been asking the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, to drop out. And at many of his rallies and interviews, President Trump has been saying, well, I didn't even have to go to the debate because I'm doing so well on the polls and everybody else is so down there, so far away from me, that it would be a waste of my time to even debate these people. And obviously, President Donald Trump is trying to get rid of competitors, and one of them, many have viewed to be Ron DeSantis. But it looks like Ron DeSantis is a fighter, and he has been fighting back against Trump about his statements that he should drop out of the race, and he's telling him vehemently that he will not drop out of the race.
So Trump actually did this thing in a typical Trump way. Trump basically is saying that by not debating you, I have debated you, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to dignify the debating. I'm not going to dignify you by debating you. Trump is saying you're not on the same level as me. I'm not going to acknowledge you, right? Because if I debate you, it's a way of saying I acknowledged you as a competitor. Trump said, you know what, I'm not going to even do that.
That's right.
Yeah.
And President Trump, he's said in many interviews that he reads the news vociferously and he follows the polls quite heavily. And when you listen to his interviews, when you listen to his rallies, when he's in front of thousands of people, he always cites the polls. Poll numbers are very important to him, and he thinks that is a very important indicator of who is the real, true contender in this race. And according to him, because he is really high up there on the polls, and the other competitors are nowhere near his numbers, therefore it's a waste of his time to sit on the same table with his competitors and really discuss these important issues that we face here today.
So right now, there's seems like there's a trend saying that, because of all those legal issues or legal troubles, if you will, Trump, may not go all the way in terms of running for the president. And the second, not only that, they were saying that, for Republicans, seems like there's more and more Republicans that will vote for Ron DeSantis as opposed to Trump. What do you think of that?
I mean, definitely it looks like, based on the last debate, based on other news articles about the other Republican contenders, that is an important issue that they've been raising. Well, you know, if President Trump has this many legal problems, would he even be able to run? I mean, there are news articles out there that are talking about certain states. I don't recall, may have been Colorado or Georgia, that was trying to have Trump not run for president based on these current lawsuits and the criminal complaints filed against him. Now, many people say that these lawsuits and the criminal complaints against the president should be enough to discredit him and should be enough for the American population to not trust him and not vote for him. But President Trump is saying to the contrary. In fact, every time that he's being indicted or every time he's being sued, that his poll numbers keep shooting up. And again, it really goes back to his wholehearted trust on the poll numbers compared to what other of his competitors say. It looks like he doesn't even really care about what his competitors say, so long as the poll numbers show that his eye up there. Now, when the election comes, with the voters start putting into consideration these lawsuits, these litigations, possibly, it's definitely an avenue that a lot of these contenders have been using against President Trump, but only time will tell.
Okay, Trump was saying a few days ago, saying that because of the criminal indictment, he actually raised $7 million in 2 days. So it seems that each time Trump gets into legal trouble, either he's sued or he's being criminally charged, and he makes money. He gets money, at least, you know. So if that was true, but it does seem to support, you know, the direction that, you know, so although Trump keeps on getting into legal trouble, but precisely because of those legal troubles, and Trump actually is going to get potentially more votes. You know, the sheer fact that he raised $7 million in 2 days, that's a very strong indicator that actually people, because of, you know, the fact that he's being indicted, they think that it was a hoax. It was you know, criminal. It wasn't like a criminal case, but it was more of a political persecution. You know, they wanted to vote for him. That they wanted to give him money. Mm-hmm. So by actually suing Trump, by actually filing criminal charges against Trump, you are actually, in a way, you are actually supporting him, because he will get more votes, he will get more money. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
President Trump has a lot of followers, and they're very dedicated to him. They're very loyal to him. And all along, he's been telling his followers that this is what's coming in front of me. I mean, they're going after me for XYZ reason. They're going to indict me for this, and this is what they're trying to do. The news is this. And every time, obviously, a lawsuit is filed or an indictment's made or criminal complaints filed, President Trump obviously goes back to his followers who are very loyal to him and says, well, I was telling you that this is what's going to happen, and this is what they're doing, and this is the reason why they're doing it. So he uses these criminal complaints or the civil lawsuits as a way to legitimize and confirm, provide support to what he was saying in the past. And it could be that he's gaining more support from that. It could be that his loyal followers are becoming even more loyal after these complaints are filed. So definitely, I mean, he's probably getting more support, or even more support from the support he has from this litigation.
Yes, but for the Democrats, so aside from Joe Biden, I mean, is anybody else that you think that would be a strong candidate for the 2024 presidential election?
Mm-hmm. So I was watching a recent interview with our governor, Gavin Newsom. A lot of people are saying our governor here in California should run for office. They say he's a great politician. He speaks well. He's very intelligent, and he would be a great next runner for the Democratic Party for president. But that interview that he made, he was very clear, stating that he won't be running. So far, it does appear that President Biden, he's stated that he's going to run again. He's going to be the next Democratic runner-up for president. But so far, that's what it appears.
But the weird thing, though, is that just a few days ago, it seems like the Vice President, Kamala Harris, issued a statement or said something saying that, well, if the president gets sick, if the president becomes incapacitated in any way, and she's ready to step in, like no shit, like I think the only job for the vice president is to step in if something happens to the president. Otherwise, you don't even know. Actually, in America, we have a vice president, right? So the vice president seems to me is more like a fire extinguisher. If there's a fire and we need a fire extinguisher to extinguish the fire. Otherwise, you don't even realize, or you're not even aware that there's such a thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that is one of her duties as vice president. But when she ran against President Biden at the last election, she didn't win. President Biden won, and then he chose her as the vice president. Now, I'm not sure if she's going to try that again. I don't think she will succeed the second time. She's been pretty down low as vice president. You've seen her go to Europe and some other countries, but she's been pretty down low so far. So I'm not sure if she'll go against and run against the president and for the Democratic Party nominee.
Okay. Do you think that within the party, within the Democratic Party, if there's already a decision being made, if Mr. President Joe Biden, gets ill, considering his not only his senior age, right, but it seems like he talks nonsense, like he's losing his mind, like literally, almost he has lost his mind on multiple occasions, So, to be frank, it does not seems like the president is fit to be the president, to run this country. What do you think?
I mean, if he's obviously there are many statements. Yeah, they say he's not fit. He's not able to walk properly. He's not able to speak clearly. He says the wrong words, misstates, reads incorrectly from teleprompter, etc. But when asked if he's going to run for president, he stated that he is. And I don't see any other, we don't see the same amount of contention you see on the Republican Party side compared to the Democratic Party side. It seems like the Republican Party side, there's a really strong fight about who is going to be the next person to run for the Republican Party. But on the Democratic Party side, I mean, when you look at the news feed, it's not as busy because it looks like everybody's put their support behind him, regardless of all these opinions or about President Biden's abilities and capacities and all that.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking out loud that because of the legal trouble Hunter Biden is in, because initially I believe that his attorney on his behalf reached a settlement agreement, with the DOJ, with the Department of Justice. So I guess the essential terms are that he pleads to a couple of rather minor offenses, federal offenses like tax evasion, what have you. He actually doesn't have to do jail time. There's some fines, there's some community service, but they're more like a just slap on the hand. They're not like a serious punishment, for the alleged crimes he committed. But I think that settlement agreement was rejected by the federal court judge. But right now, the DOJ, the special prosecutor, has charged Hunter Biden with additional federal crimes, including illegal possession of firearms. So it feels to me that the president has to stick it out. He has to keep up with the fight, because if he doesn't, if he's no longer the president, serious, the South will get into very serious trouble. But clearly, though, it seemed to me that the agreement, the settlement agreement, was entered because Hunter Biden is the son of the president. Otherwise, why would you have got such a favorable agreement? And the second, the agreement was so one-sided. The agreement was so unusual. It was so bizarre. It was rejected by the federal court judge. Federal court judge said, you know what? I know you guys will try to let him go, but this is too much. I'm not going to approve it. You know? The other thing I think it's pretty funny though, like in America, right? Every job has a qualification, with one exception. You know, the president. Right? If you want to get a job, you say, you know what? I want to be office clerk. You know, usually the requirements will be like you have to graduate from college, you know, you have to be healthy, you know. That means that you don't basically, all of a sudden you start like, you know, pooping in public, right? You know, and also you have to be responsible, you know, for any job. Even you work at a Starbucks, you know, and there's qualifications. But for the president, clearly, I think he has shown signs of unfitness, but he's still in the office. You know, it seems to me, actually, the system, there's something wrong with the system. If he got these countries mixed up, can you imagine? He would say, you know what? We're going to bomb. I guess what he meant to say, we're going to bomb Iran, right? Then he maybe he will misspeak. He will say, oh, you know what? Let's bomb Ukraine. They'll be like, Mr. President, did you mean like Iran? He's like, no, I don't know what I meant. What did I say? Did I say Ukraine? You know, can you imagine? You know, the grave consequences this may cause, you know, because of the fact that, you know, he is not of a sound mind. You know, he is that kind of person that you will see in those case law for like a probate cases, right? You know, somebody's super old, he has lost his mind, and he made up a will, you know, because he wasn't, you know, clear in his mind. The will later gets challenged. So I think it's just sad, like, you know, there's nothing you can do about it.
I mean, what's going on, obviously, is in this next election, this is something that's a big issue. The news anchors have been talking about President Biden's abilities. The presidential candidates have been talking about it, debating it, arguing it. It's front and center on the table. And that's probably the first thing they're going to start arguing once we have a Republican candidate running against President Biden. That's going to be the first thing. They're probably going to put the videos up. They're probably going to put all these examples of their claims that, well, I don't think you're fit. People of the U.S., look at the president. Look what he's doing. Look what he's saying. And look at his inabilities. And that's going to be center up for voters to decide whether what everybody's been contending all this time, especially now the Republicans, are going to put the center stage, whether the current president has the ability to have another 4 years and continue with it. So it's going to be a big issue for sure.
Yeah. So what's your bet? Like, who's going to be the next president?
I don't know. I think we'll see. If I only knew. I mean, the debates are very. They're very. I think it's too soon right now to tell based off the polls alone. I mean, they're still fighting really hard on the Republican side. I think from the Democrat side, I think President Biden's going to be the runner-up. From the Republican side, it's really tricky because now I'm seeing all these lawsuits about President Trump that he should not be able to run for president. But I mean, his polls show that he's going to be the next runner-up. So we're going to have another round two, unless it turns out that these lawsuits against him that he can't run for president goes through. And if that's the case, I mean, it's going to be difficult to say who's going to be the Republican contender if it's not Trump.
Yeah, my bet is Trump. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. I think that Ron DeSantis does have potential, but still, I don't think he's on the same level as Trump. With Joe Biden, I think he's a losing cause.
Okay.
So I think right now, the reason why he still announced that he was going to run for the 2024 presidential presidency, so because of his son. If he lost the power as a president, he can no longer protect his son. Yeah, he may not be a good president, but in a sense, he's a good father. He wants to protect his son, What can I say? Is there anything else you want to share with our audience?
I think it's going to be a very interesting election. I think every election is very, very exciting and fun, but this one's really different from all the other ones we've seen, I believe. We have all these civil criminal allegations against a Republican frontrunner. I don't know when's the last time we've seen that, if we've ever seen that. And this is going to be a very different election because, according to President Trump, these allegations, these lawsuits, these criminal complaints and indictments are not hurting him. They're helping him. But now we have these lawsuits trying to make sure that these complaints hurt him. But if these lawsuits again fail, then we have President Trump, the front runner on the Republican side, again going against Joe Biden, round 2. And this is going to be a very interesting, exciting election. And what happens if Trump wins the presidency the second round? That's going to be an interesting event as well.
Yeah. We just have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, before we conclude, I just there's something I want to say to actually my mother, and she will be having her 79th birthday in a couple of weeks, and I want to say happy birthday, Mom. And my mother is someone very special in a sense that she actually has a cat/dog sanctuary in China. The sanctuary houses about 60 cats and 1 dog. And she does everything by herself. Each time she can never stay in America for too long because she needs to go back to China to tend to her cats and their 1 dog. So she has such a big heart. And people always say that, oh, Attorney Liu, you're so strong, you're so powerful, how did you get that? It's very simple. I have a great mother. She has such a huge heart. I just follow whatever she does. Yeah. So that will be it for today's show. Yeah.